Democrats in Texas, they've got the Republicans on the run and right where they want them to oppose the redistricting maps that would have eliminated five Democratic seats from the House in Texas. But 50 Texas Democrats went off to Illinois. I happen to be in Chicago today, hosted by Governor J.B. Pritzker. Why? Because they're in the process of quorum breaking or quorum busting to make sure that vote on the redistricting map created by the Republicans never takes place. Governor Abbott's upset about it. Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton is upset about it. But what are they going to do about it? What will the Texas Supreme Court say about it? They already tried this in 2021 successfully, and Texans have been walking out on their legislature in order, as the minority party, in order to force change since 1870. I'm going to catch you up on the most recent attempt that's going on right now before our very eyes. And also, I have my hands on a brand new letter, which is exclusive to MeidasTouch and Legal AF from Democracy Forward, one of our collaborators, our main collaborators over on Legal AF YouTube channel, in which they've already sent the pre-litigation letter to Governor Abbott, who's threatened to remove these 50 Texas Democrats because they've, quote unquote, abandoned their office. Abandoned their office? They're doing exactly what they need to do to defend democracy and represent their constituents. They haven't abandoned their jobs. They have taken their jobs to a higher level. And they're spending some time in Chicago. I'm Michael Popok. I'm spending some time with you. You're on MeidasTouch and Legal AF. Take a minute, hit the MeidasTouch subscribe button. Come on over to Legal AF subscribe button as well. All right, what happened? What are we talking about? About a week ago, and we covered it on Legal AF podcast this past Saturday, Texans announced a way for Donald Trump to steal the midterm election, or try to anyway. One of the ways, if he can't win at the ballot, he can't win at the voting booth, is to try to eliminate the amount of Democrats that can be elected to Congress. There you go. If you can't get rid of the voter, you get rid of the game. You change the game. So they redrew their maps pursuant to the 2020 census. And lo and behold, 5 Democratic seats magically disappeared. 5, no Republican seats. So what was then a purpley state became ruby red under this map. That gives Donald Trump 5 less Democrats to have to worry about being voted from Texas as we figure out what's going to happen at the midterms, right? He's tilting the game board in his favor right now. And this is where the fight is, right now. So when that map came up for a vote in a special session, because Texas is in a 30-day special session to handle this map and some other things, the Democrats who are in the minority, they may be in the minority, but they make up a quorum. And you have to have, under Texas law, 2/3 of the state legislators in the room at the same time to conduct business. So if you subtract 50, you don't have the 2/3. So that's what you got to do as a minority party. When you object to something, you walk out, you run out. Now, the reason they left the state, some people might ask, hey, Popok, why are they in Chicago? Are they like... Are they hanging out? Are they hanging out here on the Golden Mile? Or are they shopping? No. They needed to get as far away from Texas as possible because the arrest warrants that they knew were coming by the sergeant of arms, by the legislator and the legislation there, the House and the Senate, would not reach as far, won't reach into Illinois. Because the Texas Supreme Court, the last time they did a walkout in 2021 to protest against another bill that tried to take away people's voting rights, this Texas Supreme Court said a couple of things. One, quorum busting or quorum breaking by a minority is a legitimate form of political exercise and representing your constituents. And the arrest warrants can be issued if they don't show, but the arrest warrants reach is only as far as the borders of Texas. Now, Texas might be the big sky country, but it doesn't reach into Illinois. I wasn't a major in geography, but I kind of figured that out. And so did the 50 state Democrats. So they were like, we got to get out of here. We got to get out beyond the arrest warrant. So J.B. Pritzker, governor, one of the leaders of the resistance, a likely 2028 political candidate for president, invited them to come to Chicago, and here they are. No, I don't think they went to Lollapalooza, which ended last night, but they did come to Illinois. All right. Now, what's gone on since? Firstly, Abbott has taken to the stage in social media and made an announcement that he's going to remove those 50 from their office for abandoning their office. Okay, can the governor do that? No. Can a lawsuit do that? Maybe, but you'd have to prove abandonment. And as I said at the top of the hot take, this is the opposite of abandonment. They're representing their constituents the best way they know how, through quorum busting, to make sure those maps don't get approved. The weather, it's heating up, and your nighttime bedroom temperature has a huge impact on your sleep quality. If you wake up too hot or too cold, I highly recommend you check out Miracle Made's bed sheets. Miracle Made sheets are inspired by NASA and use silver-infused fabrics that are temperature regulating, so you can sleep at the perfect temperature all night long. Using silver-infused fabrics inspired by NASA, Miracle Made sheets are thermoregulating and designed to keep you at the perfect temperature all night long, no matter the weather, so you get better sleep every night. Miracle sheets are luxuriously comfortable without the high price tag of other luxury brands and feel as nice, if not nicer, than sheets used by some 5-star hotels. Stop sleeping on bacteria. Bacteria can clog your pores, causing breakouts and acne. Sleep clean with Miracle. Upgrade your sleep as the weather heats up. Go to trymiracle.com/legalaf to try Miracle Made sheets today. And whether you're buying them for yourself or as a gift for a loved one, if you order today, you can save over 40%. And if you use our promo LegalAF at checkout, you'll get a free 3-piece towel set and save an extra 20%. Miracle is so confident in their product, it's backed with a 30-day money-back guarantee. So if you aren't 100% satisfied, you'll get a full refund. Upgrade your sleep with Miracle Made. Go to trymiracle.com/legalaf and use the code LegalAF to claim your free 3-piece towel set and save over 40% off. Again, that's trymiracle.com/legalaf to treat yourself. Thank you, Miracle Made, for sponsoring this episode. Now, Democracy Forward, we have an exclusive letter here from them. They are not only are they a public interest group that's filed over 80 lawsuits against this administration just in the last 6 months, including 2 last week on the immigration rules, but they are also sent a pre-suit letter to Abbott reminding him that he can't remove people. And we have the exclusive letter right here. Here's what Sky Perryman, who just did a hot take with me, you can come over to Legal AF YouTube and catch it, about 2 new lawsuits. Here's what she wrote today, August 4th, to Governor Abbott. Governor Abbott, last night you issued a statement stating that you would remove Texas state lawmakers elected by their communities if they were not present today, Monday, at a special session. It appears you called the special session. It appears that you are doing the bidding of interests outside of Texas, including President Trump, who are seeking to prevent the fair representation of people in the state. All in bold now. You are not a king. You have no authority to remove lawmakers elected by their communities in Texas from office. And then they say that there is a Texas Supreme Court case from 2021, which Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton knows because he cited it in his letter, that enables quorum breaking as a tactic of the legislative minority. And these 50 Senate Democrats or Democrats are in the minority. And so the decision by the lawmakers to represent their communities by refusing to participate in this special session today is, as the Texas Constitution recognizes, Sky Perryman continues, an official act, not the abandonment of a constitutional duty, as your statement suggests. It is, in fact, the judgment of these lawmakers that their communities are best served by the quorum break, which is a prerogative that Texas lawmakers have the right to exercise. I mean, the minority in Texas, Republican or Democrat, have been doing quorum breaking since 1870 all the way up to 2021 and now this most recent time. And so what she reminds Abbott in this letter is that he doesn't have the ability to remove people for abandonment. They're going to have to go through, or removal. They're going to have to go through a process through a court, and they will be opposed. This is what she ends the letter with on page 2. What is happening in the state of Texas is not just a test for the rights of Texans, but one for the rights of everyone who wishes to live in a democracy in this nation. You and your allies have created an unprecedented political emergency for the people of Texas and across the nation. Thousands of Texans have testified against and spoken out to oppose the hastily drawn redistricting maps, which seek to make invisible and take the voices away from millions. While you have some power as a governor, you don't have the power to remove. Now, this is a shot across the bow by Democracy Forward before they file their ultimate suit. So I think we're going to have a number of suits. We're going to have Paxson on behalf of Texas filing some sort of action to remove these 50 lawmakers. There's already a fine of $500 a day running since 2021. They stuck that into new rules there. So there's going to be that case. That's probably going to be a state court case, and that ultimately goes up to the Texas Supreme Court. Separately, I could see a federal lawsuit being filed by the lawmakers. There's also an arrest warrant that's been issued by the Sergeant of Arms to bring them home. But he doesn't have the long arm of the law to go grab them in Illinois. We have the clip of the arrest warrants being issued or authorized by the Sergeant of Arms in Texas. Let's run the clip.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker and members. Mr. Speaker, I move that the Sergeant of Arms or officers appointed by her send for all absentees whose attendance is not excused for the purpose of securing and maintaining their attendance under warrant of arrest if necessary, and this order to be continued beyond the adjournment of day's session and until the further order of the House.
Members, you've heard the motion. This is a record vote. Clerk, ring the bell. Sagarin voting aye. Being 85 ayes and 6 nays, the motion prevails. The Sergeant at Arms and any officers appointed by her are directed to send for all absentees whose attendance is not excused for the purposes of securing and maintaining their attendance under warrant of arrest if necessary until further order of the House.
So I think there's going to be a lawsuit about that arrest warrant and get back before a federal judge on that and back up to the United States Supreme Court. So there's a number of ways to, and then ultimately a substantive attack on the redistricting map as a violation of the Voting Rights Act and a violation of the Constitution and the representative form of government that we have. This is the right thing. This is what defiance, people ask me, what does defiance look like? What does disobedience look like? What does good trouble look like? How do we resist the Trump administration? How do we call out their depravity? You're watching it. 50 heroes for me right now. Procedurally, there'll be some ins and outs. You know, the speaker will call some procedural motions in Texas. The governor will squawk more about removal. There'll be another injunction hearing. The other question is, do these things work? They do. In many cases, it forces the majority who's trying to shove these maps or these rules or these pieces of legislation down people's throats to bargain, to negotiate, to compromise. Sometimes that does happen. Depends on the length of the time, especially. If you can believe it, there was, in Oregon, the Republicans walked out for 6 weeks. So there was no business for 6 weeks. Remember, quorum breaking means for as long as they're out, this body in Texas stops legislating, stops doing anything deliberative. They can't act without the quorum. So they're all back in their offices. This 30-day session is on ice appropriately. So I think it's a bargaining tool. It's a negotiating tool. You might see some horse trading, no pun intended, in Texas between maybe we don't lose 5 seats, we lose 1 seat or whatever it is. But they got to stay out for as long as they can. But it's going to ultimately be decided back in the court system, and we'll be right there for it at the corner of law and politics here on the MeidasTouch Network on Legal AF. I'm glad you're here with me. Come on over to Legal AF, the YouTube channel. Hit the free subscribe button there. If we can just get any part of our audience to match our subscriber base to match our audience, this would be fantastic. We've had over 220 million people view our work in the last 9 months. I'll take 1% of that in the subscriber base. Just takes a minute. Flick your finger, hit the subscriber button, come on over to Legal AF, the YouTube channel, and I'll post this Democracy Forward letter on the Legal AF Substack. So until my next report, this is Michael Popok. Can't get your fill of Legal AF? Me neither. That's why we formed the Legal AF Substack. Every time we mention something in a hot take, whether it's a court filing or a oral argument, come over to the Substack. You'll find the court filing and the oral argument there, including a daily roundup that I do called, wait for it, Morning AF. What else? All the other contributors from Legal AF are there as well. We got some new reporting. We got interviews. We got ad-free versions of the podcast and hot takes. Where? Legal AF on Substack. Come over now to free subscribe.